Change. It's changed. It's not funny, but it's quite funny because when they were waving, oh, they're better, they're this, they're that, but now all of them are on YouTube. All of them are on Patreon. We've been did that over here. Check me on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was the main one that was hating. They got this vlogger lady just everywhere, and now Kandi is a vlogger lady.
The timeline didn't explode when this happened. It froze. That's how you know it was serious. Because when Tasha K calmly spoke about Kandi Burruss, it didn't feel like gossip. It felt like confirmation. Not the loud, messy kind that thrives on chaos, but the quiet kind that suggests the real damage, if there is any, has already begun behind closed doors. There was no screaming, no theatrics, no dramatic accusations. Just a measured tone that made insiders tense and fans suddenly realize the story they thought they understood might already be outdated. For years, Kandi has carried an image of control. Business-minded, emotionally disciplined, rarely caught off balance. She has long appeared to be the woman who doesn't slip unless she already knows exactly how she'll land. So when Tasha K suggested that something hadn't exploded or collapsed, but shifted, the atmosphere changed. Because a shift implies pressure. And pressure doesn't arrive overnight. It builds quietly, invisibly, while everyone mistakes strength for stability. What made the moment unsettling wasn't just what was said. It was what didn't follow. There was no immediate denial, no Instagram clarification, no carefully drafted public statement. Just silence. And in celebrity culture, silence is rarely empty. Silence is strategic. It suggests conversations are happening off camera. Decisions are being weighed. Options are being calculated. Then the whispers began. Alleged messages. Supposed recordings. Anonymous insiders hinting that this wasn't about scandal. It was about management. A long, slow management story unfolding behind the scenes. Fans began revisiting old interviews, replaying past appearances, noticing pauses and subtle tensions that suddenly felt different in this new frame. Because once a frame shifts, you can't unsee what no longer fits inside it. This wasn't about drama. It was about power, timing, and what happens when a carefully controlled public image begins to feel heavier than the truth it's protecting. And the most chilling part? Whatever comes next likely won't feel shocking. It will feel inevitable. The silence after Tasha spoke was louder than any rant could have been. It wasn't messy. It wasn't chaotic. It was contained. And containment always implies something is being held back. The internet did what it always does. It started connecting dots. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips were dissected. Viewers began pointing out how often Kandi appeared to carry emotional weight while presenting composure. How often Todd Tucker deferred publicly, yet seemed strategically positioned in business conversations. None of it was explosive on its own. Together, it felt like pressure. Then came the alleged leaks. Not explosive accusations, but personal-sounding fragments. Messages claiming exhaustion. A grainy voice note circulating online with a sentence that hit uncomfortably close to Kandi's long-standing image. "I'm tired of being the solution to problems I didn't create." No names attached. No confirmation. But the phrasing resonated. Suddenly, silence wasn't interpreted as strength. It was read as containment. Social media split overnight, not into camps of guilt or innocence, but into camps of interpretation. Some dismissed it as blogger theatrics. Others insisted the tone felt different this time. Cooler, more deliberate. Clips of Tasha's commentary spread widely, not because of explosive claims, but because of how calmly they were delivered. It sounded less like speculation and more like framing. Indirect celebrity reactions followed. Subtweets about knowing your worth. Quotes about silence speaking volumes. Nothing explicit. Everything suggestive. Fans screenshot, timestamped, built timelines. The narrative stopped belonging to any single voice. It became crowdsourced in real time. What made this moment feel distinct was the absence of reflexive denial. In celebrity controversies, true or false, there's usually a rapid response. A legal statement. A dismissal. A joke. None of that appeared. Kandi didn't rush to reassure. Todd didn't leap to defend. That kind of restraint isn't confusion. It's calculation. In high-profile marriages, Every public word has legal, financial, and reputational weight. Speaking too quickly locks you into a version of events. Staying quiet preserves flexibility, reconciliation, restructuring, redefinition. Without public commitment, insiders, or those claiming proximity, began whispering about conversations that weren't dramatic but deliberate. Not shouting matches, but evaluations. Not "are we happy?" but "is this sustainable?" When you build an empire, as Kandi has, vulnerability becomes complicated. Financial independence, cultural respect, and brand authority create expectations. People don't ask what happened. They ask why you allowed it. Strength becomes identity. Identity becomes pressure. Tasha's commentary didn't accuse. It implied strain. The strain of being perceived as unbreakable. And that assumption, that someone can always carry more, can quietly reshape a relationship over time. Todd's role became a focal point. Not because of a single incident, but because of positioning. In partnerships where one person holds more visibility, balance requires constant maintenance. Without intention, compromise can begin to feel like obligation. Maintenance can replace intimacy. The shift rarely announces itself. It settles. Fans debated whether contribution and benefit were equal, whether that even mattered, whether those questions had existed privately long before the public noticed. Patterns don't rely on receipts. They rely on recognition. As silence stretched, attention shifted from statements to behavior. Appearances felt different. Energy seemed recalibrated. The absence of casual interactions once taken for granted began to stand out. Silence moved from strategy to strain, because while silence buys time, it also invites interpretation. And interpretation hardens into belief faster than facts ever could. At this stage, the story stopped being about what Tasha revealed. It became about what the audience could no longer unsee. The illusion of effortless stability felt cracked. And once perception changes, every future moment is filtered through suspicion. According to alleged insiders, conversations behind the scenes weren't about drama. They were about leverage, about timing, about minimizing fallout, about whether maintaining the image still served the individuals inside it. Relationships at this level are not just emotional bonds. They are structures, intertwined with contracts, production schedules, shared ventures, and public narratives. Any internal shift sends external ripples. That's why silence is chosen carefully, and broken even more carefully. Tasha's most strategic move may have been stepping back after speaking. She didn't escalate. She didn't chase reaction. She allowed the moment to breathe. Responsibility shifted to the silence itself. And silence works best early. Prolonged silence becomes a standoff. And standoffs demand resolution. As days passed, speculation evolved from "is something wrong?" to "what outcome makes sense?" Stay and restructure. Separate quietly. Publicly redefine the partnership in a way that preserves control. None of those outcomes require scandal. They require acknowledgement. At its core, this isn't necessarily a story about betrayal. It's about balance eroding under expectation. About what happens when the person known for strength begins to feel the cost of always holding everything together. If there is a collapse, it likely won't be loud. It will be internal. It will be the moment protecting the image feels heavier than protecting personal peace. When silence stops preserving harmony and starts draining it. By the time the public hears anything definitive, if they ever do, it won't feel explosive. It will feel like the only move left. Right now, the story feels compressed, tightened, waiting. Silence has done its job. Pressure has been applied. Something will eventually give clarity, confirmation, or a carefully curated new narrative. After this moment, perception has shifted. And perception is power. Every glance, every public interaction, every subtle change will now be analyzed differently. What once looked stable will be examined for strain. What once felt effortless will be measured for effort. If this is merely gossip, it's unusually restrained. If it's something deeper, it's unfolding in real time, strategically, quietly, deliberately. The internet may crave explosions. But this story is about direction, not detonation. Whatever comes next will not arrive with chaos. It will arrive with clarity,